Welcome to the Mentor Podcast, where the most highly motivated entrepreneurs come to get their weekly dose of financial stability with host Ron LeGrand, as well as other nationally recognized thought leaders who will teach you how to get, grow, and protect your wealth.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Ron LeGrand with another edition of the Mentor Podcast. Our mission is to help you make more money and make it a lot faster and have a lot more of it when you get ready to retire. Now, this is the third in the series of podcasts on running your business. Yes, this is me delivering a message today, and the subject is solving the biggest problems in real estate investing. Now, obviously, that means that this is for real estate investors or also for those who want to be real estate investors and maybe even for those who don't. So we're going to talk about solving the biggest problems, but in this conversation, we're also going to be talking about solving problems, period, because some folks have a little trouble solving problems. And honestly, I thrive on it. But I can tell you that if you're running a business and you don't have the ability to solve problems, you might want to ask yourself, well, who will then? If I'm the owner, I'm the leader, what's going to happen to problems if I don't get them solved? And the answer is they fester. They become huge problems. They become mountains that were molehills, and sometimes they even take you out of business. So I have a very little simple system for solving problems, which applies to anything, personal or business. And then I have some problems that are inherent to real estate investors that I'll discuss. So I got a 5-step approach to solving problems. And of course, the more problems you solve, the easier they become to solve. And the less you care about them, and the less they bother you. And when you learn to solve problems, you'll know that, hey, they're all solvable. And if there's a solution, and there always is, then all I got to do is find it and act on it. So step 1 of my simple plan is you got to identify the problem. And that means you have to identify the real problem. Dig deep and not the issues that the problems cause, but what is the real problem? So let's first identify that. For example, if I'm trying to sell houses and they're not selling, I need to find out why they're not selling. Not just, well, make up something like, I think the price is too high. No, you don't know that. You have no idea whether the price is too high unless you verify it by talking to the people who've looked at the house and they keep saying the price is too high. So what a lot of people do, especially realtors, they just keep dropping the price till it sells because they assume that's the problem. Well, that's almost never the problem. So let's dig deep and identify the real problem. For example, in that case, maybe they're not selling is because they're not putting enough people through it. Maybe they're not showing it. Okay, well, why aren't they showing it? I don't know. Maybe their advertising is not working. Okay, if they're not getting any calls, they're not showing the house. So we got to go back and get to the root of the problem before we figure out what the solution is. So if the solution in that case where I'm not doing enough marketing, well, that's the problem. Now we go to work identifying the solution. So number 1 is identify the problem. And then number 2, write down all of the available options. And if you need to get help, but you got to write down all the available options. And then number 3, decide which option has the best chance for a favorable outcome and make that choice. And then go to number 4, which is determine the cost of that option. Am I willing to pay the price of this option to solve this problem? And if it's not acceptable, of course, then you're probably going to have to go to choice number 2. Then, of course, the tough one, the one that most people don't do, is number 5, and that's take action to implement that solution. You can go 1 through 4 and figure out what you need to do, but if nobody's ever doing anything about it, then obviously that problem is definitely not going to get solved. So let's talk about some problems inherent within the real estate investing business. But I'll bet you if you were to think about it, you'll find many of these problems are inherent in any business. All right. I think one of the biggest problems in business is cash flow. Well, not if it's positive, but if it's negative, it's definitely the biggest problem in business because you won't be around very long if it's a negative cash flow. A lot of other people have problems with hiring and firing and outsourcing and delegating. Of course, time management is always a problem. I find very, very few people who have a clue how to control their time and get anything done. They let minutia take over their life. And then systemization. If you don't have systems, you are always going to be solving problems that can be prevented if you have systems. And without those systems, you just got to keep doing the same thing over and over again. Requires more people, more time, more labor, and lousy results. So that's not certainly all the problems. So I'm going to focus on the ones that I see people experiencing in real estate, and we'll talk about each of them. First, you don't know where to get the money. Second, you don't have enough time. Third, you're not getting enough good seller leads. Fourth, agreements scare you. Fifth, you don't know what to say. So I can't find an attorney. I'm afraid of making a mistake. Can't find the buyers with the money. I can be getting leads, but no deals. I can't find good help. Okay, that's a good start. I'm sure that ain't all the problems, but I can tell you that if you didn't have those problems, the rest would be simple and easy to get rid of quickly. So let's start with where to get the money. I don't know where to get the money. My friend, I can't tell you how many thousands and thousands and thousands of people have not entered real estate investing because they were convinced that it required money and credit. Well, I am here to tell you, after 37 years of buying well over 3,000 houses, I have never used credit, many times used no money, and if I used money, it was very little money, and usually even then, it wasn't my money. So once you get over the fact that it does not require money or credit to buy houses, it'll probably open a lot of new doors for you. And in fact, if you still don't understand how that can happen, you need to come see Papa here, which you can do at a one-day fast track event that we do for only $99, and I still do them live. Or you can get that event on digital right now for only $99. It's of the one-day event. And you can contact our office to get that for $99. You get that whole day and you sit there and watch it on your cell phone. What the purpose of that day is to educate folks on how we do deals without money and are using our credit. And we do deals while people are watching. We actually do live deals for the students who bring in leads. So once we get over that and we get thoroughly convinced that you don't need money or credit, then I guess the next thing you better ask is, well, what would I do with the money if I had it? Well, in the pretty house business, which means beautiful homes and beautiful neighborhoods, we don't need money because we're buying with terms. Terms means we're either getting a seller to owner financing or we're taking over debt or buying it with lease purchase. None of those require money, and if they do, it's closing costs. And every once in a while we have to get a seller a down payment, but the whole art is to get the sellers to finance with little or nothing down, which we do a lot of. Therefore, we don't require money other than maybe closing costs. In the ugly house business, of course, if I'm going to pay cash for a house, I'm going to need cash to buy it, cash to fix it, cash to hold it. But we get that from a private lender, a human being, by giving a high rate of return for their money, safely secured by a very low loan-to-value ratio loan on the house. My goodness, you're doing them a huge favor. You're getting them 14 times or so what they're getting in their bank account. They couldn't have a safer investment because they're going to get a fixed rate of return. Not hard to get people to show people why making private loans is a great use of their IRA and other investment capital. So therefore, yes, they need money, but it's not your money. And in fact, you're actually going to borrow more than you need to get the job done, or I'm going to spank you, because you always borrow more than you need. And that's if I'm going to rehab it. And of course, then there's always wholesale. Wholesale simply means we put the property under contract and we flip it to a rehabber and pick up a check for $10, $15, $20, $30,000 or more. We don't ever own the house. Now, frankly, that doesn't take anything but an earnest money deposit, which is about $10 to a FSBO for sale by owner. So, let's get over this. Where am I going to get the money crap and come to the conclusion that real estate does not require money. If it does, it ain't yours. Real estate is the vehicle that actually generates cash, not consumes cash. We buy properties without using our money so that we can make money on them and then use that money for all other kinds of things, even outside of real estate. So not knowing where to get the money is an education problem. It is most certainly not a money problem. I have a 4-day event that we teach called the Quick Start Real Estate School. Ultimately, if you want to do this business, that's where you're going to wind up. So the enemy is here. It is us. Fix your thinking, change your thinking, and you don't worry anymore about where am I going to get the money. All right? Time. Don't have enough time. Oh, I love that one. But what a load of crock. What a crock. I don't have time. You got the exact same amount of time in the day as every human being on the planet has. There's 24 hours. It is most certainly not about, do I have not enough time? You have all the time they have. You have the same amount of time that Jeff Bezos has, or Bill Gates has, or Donald Trump has. It's actually what you decide to do with that time. And therein lies the rub Fortunately, it's fixable. You got to come to the conclusion that I've got to be in control of my time. I cannot let others control it for me. And then I got to make sure that when I free up my time, that I'm actually doing the things that matter with my time and not let minutia suck up my life and take all my time away. The goal is to get through a whole day and get something done that is worth doing and not spend the whole day doing needless, low-end, worthless minutia tasks that can easily be delegated to someone else. If you're going to be in the real estate business, buying and selling houses, you're going to need our virtual assistants. That's what they're for, to relieve you of minutia. They call all the sellers and they do all that grunt work for you, leaving you with very little to do except make decisions. I still buy houses, and my job is to decide who I want to buy from after they've been pre-screened by others, and decide who I want to sell to after they've been pre-screened by others. There's very little for me to do. And in fact, I can easily buy 2 or 3 houses a month and don't have 5 hours a month in it. Just for that reason, my friend, there's not much for me to do. So when you get to the point to where you got all that crap out of your life and can focus on making decisions, the few that you have to make, you'll find that you have plenty of time. In fact, there are some days when I get out of bed in the morning and wonder, what am I going to do today? Because I don't have to do anything. Maybe, hopefully, you can get to that point, and maybe not too far off into the distant future. But minutia kills businesses. Minutia kills careers. And minutia kills relationships. Systems fix minutia. In the real estate world, all those systems are already in place for you. We've got them done. All you got to do is tap into them. So it's not about, do I have enough time? You got plenty of time. You got all the time you need, 24 hours a day, and that's all you're going to get. And once that day is gone, you don't get to get it back, and you don't get any refund. So let's come to grips with the fact that we better make better use of our time. In fact, if you are going to come see me in my business management boot camp, that's one of the very best things that I like to teach, is that time management stuff, because, boy, I find out that very, very few people have a clue how to handle their time. And I enjoy showing them how they can make promises and not have to worry about keeping them, and then make others, hold others accountable for keeping their promises to you without having to remember anything, because that's what it's all about. If you have to remember stuff, you're a mess. You're just walking around totally unorganized and mismanaged like most other people around you. So when you learn how to take control of that time, you will find that other people want to work with you because you're weird, and that'll attract them to come be near you. By the way, one of the best time management devices ever invented is in your pocket right now, or in your purse. It's called a cell phone, and I'm going to show you how to use that thing if you'll take time to come see me. It is amazing how easy it is to use that phone, but how very few people I ever run across that have a clue how to use it to manage your time. So simple. All right, one of the next problems that I hear is not getting enough good seller leads. That's also a load of crap, because we literally drop them in our customers' laps every day on our Gold Club site. It's not about getting leads. It's about handling those leads. So if you are in Ron LeGrand's world right now, or even if you're not, make this note. Your problem is not getting leads. Your problem is in mastering the call so you can turn those leads into deals. When you learn to master the call, you'll need a lot less leads. Until you learn to master the call, you're going to blow good leads and blow good deals. In other words, you suck. You suck because you haven't figured out how to do it or taken the time to practice and do it correctly. I give you the scripts. All you got to do is read my scripts. But I'll confess, that ain't as easy as it sounds, because if you don't read those scripts correctly, then obviously the other side's going to pick it up and you won't have any idea what you're talking about. And then you don't know what to ask. And look, it's all now down to a simple system. The rejections are sitting there. The scripts are sitting there. Read the scripts. Read it with confidence. Read it like you're not begging. And learn to do that correctly and practice until you do. And you'll find that that'll change very quickly. And then getting leads is so easy. If you're listening to this and you've been in my Quick Start School, I do about 10 different things for you to get leads. And about 7 of them don't cost hardly anything. And I'm telling you, you can have them stacked up on your desk 2 inches thick, just implementing 2/3 of the stuff that I teach you. But I'll say it again, getting leads is not going to help you if you don't process them after you get them. When I say leads, I'm talking about for sale by owners who want to sell their beautiful homes in beautiful neighborhoods. But the same thing is true for buyers when you're selling houses. If you get people calling and you don't have a right system set up to handle the calls and the right follow-up in place to actually find out what they got to work with, then you're pretty. Next thing you know, you're blaming it on I'm not getting enough leads. Well, you probably are, but you're just not handling them correctly after you get them. Okay, afraid of making a mistake. I guess that one's high on the list, but you know what? I wish I could tell you that I have a magic wand for that one, but there is not one, because here's the reality, and you're not going to like this. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make a ton of them. You're going to keep on making them until the day they put you under. Mistakes are a part of growth. You cannot get rich without making mistakes. And the goal is very simple. Make them small ones, not big ones. So I always tell my folks, there are 3 ways to lose on Planet Ron. First, we don't write big checks. If we don't write big checks, we can't lose big checks. It ain't rocket science. And you can buy all the houses you want without writing checks. And I can tell you that after buying about over 3,000 of them myself and teaching others to do the same for 30 years. So writing big checks is not necessary. And when you do write them, you scare me, because pretty soon those big checks are probably going to turn into lessons for you. Number 2, do not guarantee debt. When you guarantee debt, when you sign at the bottom of a note to a loan to a bank or whoever, you are risking your credit, you're risking your assets, and you're risking your marriage. For what? To buy a house. Conventional wisdom says you need money and credit to buy a house. Conventional wisdom is dead wrong. If you're using money and credit to buy a house, you're doing it totally incorrectly, and you are building your empire on a house of cards, and it probably will not end well. Do not guarantee debt. In fact, the minute you think about doing it, put a card on your desk that says WWRD. That's what would Ron do, and talk yourself out of it, because you do not need guaranteed debt to buy houses. And thirdly, don't make promises you can't keep. If you don't make promises you can't keep, you don't have to keep them. Tell it like it is. Deal with the people who want to deal with you. Get the elephants out of the room. Don't hide stuff. And don't tell people you can do stuff when you're not sure you can do it. Then you won't have to worry about having to do it. For example, if somebody asks you, well, when are you going to pay me off? And what's the only answer you get? Well, I don't know. But I do know that I'll keep the house in good shape, and I'll get that payment made until we do. That you can't blurt out, I'll pay you off in a year. No, you don't. You don't know if you're going to pay them off in a year. So just be careful what comes out of your mouth. And also use attorneys to close. In my world, we use attorneys to buy and we use attorneys to sell for a lot of good reasons. And sometimes our tenant buyers are paying for those attorneys, and it costs us nothing. So we're going to be professionals at this job, but we're also going to remember the big 3. We don't write big checks. We don't guarantee debt. We don't make promises we can't keep. Then when you close with attorneys, I don't know what mistakes you're going to make. I guess probably the biggest ones you'll make is deals that you lose because you haven't been thoroughly trained yet. By the way, you'll lose plenty of them. So what? It's called education. Now, you want to compare it to my losses? I'll do that with you any day you like. The only way you're going to learn is to make mistakes. So make them, get on with them so you can get to the next one. If you agreed to pay too much, either fix it, change the deal, or back out of it. What's going to happen? Worst can happen is you lose your deposit. That's no biggie. You just learn to do better the next time or do in a different area. You make promises you can't keep, and you will sometimes. Deal with it. You don't hide your head in the sand. You deal with it. You work it out with whoever you made the promise to, or you apologize to if you can't, and you move on. You just can't ignore it. That's all. But mistakes, as you grow, will become less and less. But from now on, they should be very small mistakes, not big mistakes that can take you out or get the IRS on your back or other nasty things that can happen to you. Run the business like I just said, and you won't have to worry about the big mistakes. All right, next problem that real estate investors, they get leads, but they don't get deals. And actually, I've already covered that, because getting leads means a house that's for sale by owner and advertised, or they call you on your advertising. And you're calling them, but you're just not getting deals. And the answer is because you are not very good on the phone yet, or because your source of leads needs to be changed. There are different types of leads. Some are really good quality, some are not such good quality. I'd like to see you have a mix of both, but frankly, I think you'll find if you dig really, really deep, you'll find that the problem is the phone call itself, the closing call, certainly not the leads. All right, the next one is you don't know what to say. Well, you don't have to. All you got to do is read the scripts that I provide to you if you're in my world and learn how to handle those scripts. I give you the objections, I give you the scripts, and I give you the 10 mistakes you make on the telephone. All you got to do is work on fixing those mistakes, practice, record the calls, play them back, get better, and the next thing you know, you won't have to worry about what to say because, hey, the scripts are in front of you, but pretty soon you're going to memorize the answers anyway. Okay? Some people say, well, I can't find buyers with money because in our world, we lease option properties to tenant buyers who cannot qualify for a loan right now, but they can a given time because whatever's broke that's stopping them from qualifying can be fixed with time. So I put tenant buyers in houses and give them 2 years or so and let them fix whatever's broke if they want to. And those kind of buyers are going to need a down payment, but honestly, I usually get more than the down payment they'd need for FHA before I'll hand them the keys to the house. So if you're not finding people with enough money to put down, there can be several causes of that problem. One might be just the area you live in. There are many areas of the country, such as the Midwest, up and down all the way, that money just doesn't mean what it means in other areas of the country, like the major cities. Sometimes the income levels in an area are such that the down payments are going to be smaller, but that also means that the property values are going to be smaller. And so you're just going to have to work on property values high enough so that the people that want to buy them can have more money and or maybe even work with less dollars coming in, which means you better really get good at getting properties with nothing down. If I can only get $5,000 out of a tenant buyer, I don't want to give the seller any money because that $5,000 is my front end payday. But I'll tell you, if it's me, I'm going to be working on better properties even in those markets where I can get more dollars on the front end, because the more dollars you waller in, the more stick to you. And I can promise you, you're going to get a whole lot more down payment on a $500,000 house than you do on a $100,000 house. So, and that is the difference. The higher price houses you work in, the bigger the down payments, the bigger your front end paydays. Now, think about this. Nobody is going to buy a house on an FHA loan unless they have about 7.5% to put down with closing costs. And nobody's going to buy a house when the loan limit is above the FHA limit, which is pretty low, without 20% down. So first time you get this idea that, golly, who's going to have the money to give me a $50,000 down payment on a $500,000 house? Well, you might just want to walk into a $500,000 house area and look around and say, how did these people get all this money? Santa Claus bring them this house or what? They all had to come up with enough down to qualify for the loan. Don't think that people don't have the money. It's just that you're not offering the kind of product to the people who have the money want, or you're not marketing where they read. For example, if I'm trying to sell a $500,000 house, I'm not going to put it in that shopper thing that they throw on your porch for low end areas. I'm going to make sure that my ads get all over the internet, which our virtual assistants will do for you. I'm going to make sure that we do everything we can to get it to the people that would be looking at that particular publication or media for that ad. And that might take a little practice on your part. You might need to get a little help on it. Well, honestly, if you can't find buyers with money, you're looking in the wrong hole, or you're selling the wrong product, or your system is broke. All right, next, can't find good help. Well, I say before we worry about finding good help, you might want to ask yourself, are you good help? Because when employers tell me they can't find good help, I immediately know that's not the problem. The problem is good help don't want to find you, most likely. In other words, are you the kind of person they'd want to work for? Do you look like you're going to be miserable all day and grouchy and to work with? People right now have a choice of where they want to go to work. There are more people than there are jobs. So that's one thing. Are you good help? Are you paying them enough to make them feel reasonably compensated? Are you trying to pay peanuts? If you do, you're going to get monkeys. Are you giving them enough incentive to want to work for you? Is the job that they are doing something that they are qualified to do or even want to do? And are you attracting the kind of people that are more suitable for that kind of position? Where are you finding these people? For example, where are you advertising? Well, if you're advertising just on Craigslist, what do you think you're going to get? The people that watch Craigslist. You got to expand your advertising. I like LinkedIn. Get on LinkedIn. Let the headhunters, let the online headhunters find help for you. Yeah, they cost you a little bit more. So what? They do all the screening for you. If you don't like them, you just call them and say, send me somebody else. To me, it's worth it. And after about 13 weeks, if you want to call them an employee, then all you do is say, I'm going to hire them. But you get to test them before that. And you, of course, certainly don't need 13 weeks to test somebody. So, you'll know within a day or two whether you want them or not. Well, that's better than hiring them and firing them and doing the paperwork and all that crap. Besides, when you hire through a temp service, you just pay the temp service. You don't have to worry about that payroll stuff. So, and next, if you can't find good help, I would suggest that you probably shouldn't be the one looking for good help. I don't hire anybody at any of my companies because I suck at it. In other words, I let somebody else do the hiring for me, which are usually females. They are much better qualified to interview people and to see if the people should or should not be hired. They have this thing called intuition that I don't understand, and I certainly don't have. So I can tell you at Global, I hire nobody. At the restaurant, I hire nobody. There's people in place that do that. And I can tell you from experience, the women do a lot better job of it. So if there's a woman in your life, let her interview people before you ever let her tell you, this is the person I would hire, before you ever even talk to that person. In fact, if you don't have a personal assistant, that might be, and if you're ready for one, that might be the first person you ought to try to be hiring, so that from that point on, he or she, preferably a she, can be doing all the interview and screening and so forth going forward, so that all you have to do is make the final choice. In fact, I kind of like the policy that we have, which I wished we enforced more of at Global, and that is that person must be interviewed by 3 different people in the company, and one of those will be by one of the peers that they'll be working with. In other words, if I'm hiring somebody for a job in a department, I want somebody in that department to interview that person to see if they want to work with them or not. And the top management is the last person to interview that person. And of course, top management probably makes the final decision, but a lot of them will never make it that far. And so the more people you have talking to this person before they're hired, the better chances that you're doing a good job of hiring them. So let somebody else screen them. And in my case, they even hire them. I don't even know they're being hired, and many times even after they're hired, largely because I don't want to know. I let my staff take care of that. So anyway, these are problems inherent in the real estate business. Some of them are inherent in any business. But again, there's no problem that you cannot solve by going through the 5 steps I gave you, coming up with the best solutions, but then acting on the best solution. And if you will just make a note of that, it's worked well for me all these years. And I can tell you to this very, very day, it still works very well for me. Solving problems to me is not a big deal. I probably solve more of them in a week than many people solve in a year. But I'll tell you what I don't do. I don't let them sit and fester. And I want to get them solved as quickly as possible. Sometimes, I will confess that I probably should take a little bit more time to solve them, but it bugs me when I got a problem out there that has not been solved yet. So I want to tackle it and get it over with as fast as I possibly can. And incidentally, I've formed a habit of trying to work on that problem in the AM more than the PM. I find I think better in the AM, which is why I usually am at my home during the AM. And when I go to work, I check in at the crack of noon or thereabouts. And even then, I'm not necessarily there the rest of the day. So my best problem-solving time is when I'm by myself. But now when I need help solving them, I actually call a few people together and we discuss it and work it out. And I get a lot of answers that I wouldn't have thought of. And if you don't have these people to call together, there are always people hanging around you, especially if you're married, and other people that you can get help from. If you happen to be in our real estate system, you should discuss any of these real estate problems, of course, with your mentor if you have one, and ask yourself, in fact, who is on your team? Who can you consult with? Who can you go to with problems? Might want to make a note of that and see if you can't fill in that blank. Maybe somebody totally outside of your sphere of influence, which is actually good because they don't have a dog in the hunt. But it's good to have people that you can meet with and discuss problems back and forth and jointly come up with potential solutions. So anyway, if you are interested in more on that and the other subjects that I've talked about in the last 2 podcasts, I sure would like for you to join me in my business management boot camp. Look, I only do 2 of them a year. I teach the whole thing. And right now you have an opportunity to get a $500 discount if you will call this number, write it down, 800-567-6128. Now that's during business hours, 9 to 5 Eastern Standard. You ask for Carter because Carter will give you $500 off if you call very quickly. And if you're a Go Club member, you can use your Go Club points for up to half of the balance. So man, pretty much paying you to come. You also get a free guest. And if you need financing, we'll finance it for you as well. So it's my business management boot camp, and it's twice a year. And if you want more information on it, you can go to thementorpodcast.com/bizmgt, BIZMGT, and that'll give you that. But don't order there. Don't order there. If you want the $500 discount, call Carter at 800-567-6128. And just tell them you watched the podcast and Ron said to give you the $500 discount. So with that said, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on next week's podcast, and go out and solve some problems. See you soon.
That's all for this edition of the Mentor Podcast. To connect with Ron and learn how you can attain financial freedom, as well as up-to-date strategies to grow and protect your wealth based on today's discussion, go to www.connectwiththementor.com.